Okay, peoples. Today was a fun day. Market's down, yes, up and then down and then up again. It was a lot of fun. So I put a little video out there to help with the VIX a little bit. And I'm going to talk about the circuit breakers first. And then I think somebody asked me, and I am so old I can't remember. So I am just going to hope they come on and ask me the question. So I did a thing on circuit breakers, but we're going to discuss them. Talk about limit up, limit down, which is interesting. So first of all, circuit breakers. So when the S&P 500 drops by a certain amount from the close, not from the open, from the close previous night, if it drops more than 7%, or it drops 7%, the S&P 500, they shut the market down for 15 minutes. That basically happened on the opening yesterday. Okay, so it dropped 7%, boom, shut for 15 minutes. Then once it happens once, it cannot happen again. It's not like you can go another 7 and it drops. So again, the market drops 7%. Okay. Hey, Jonathan. So 7%, if the market drops 7% from the close, we shut down for 15 minutes. The next one is if it drops 13%, we stop for another 15 minutes. I promise not. It's not a corona cough. I hope not. Okay, so now it dropped 13%. That's another 15 minutes. Now that only happens until 3:25. If that happens, if either of those two things happen before 3:25, the market shuts down for 15 minutes. Dominique, how are you? So now, if the market drops either the 7 or 13% after 3:25, nothing happens. Hey, Nate, I'll talk to you in a second. That's awesome. I'm so happy for you. So I'm glad you came on and told me. I love the good news. Okay, so the market, and maybe put in here what you thought of the test, how it was. So anytime it drops 7 or 13% from the close last night before 3:25, the market stops for 15 minutes. After 3:25, the only thing that stops the market is down 20%. Now, if the market drops down 20%, anytime during the day, the market is shut down for the day. So even if at 9:50, the market's down 20%, market shut for the day, we all go home. Nothing happened. Okay. Now it's not up, it's only down. Now that happened yesterday, but remember, you can only hit those numbers once. Hey, Kellen, that's amazing. That's awesome. Congratulations. For the 66, respect it. You got to make sure you respect it. Some people have more trouble on the 66 than they do for the 7. Okay. Now, the other thing that was going on that might have happened with a few stocks is called limit up, limit down. Limit up, limit down refers to single stocks. If a single stock moves more than 5% in a 5-minute period, okay. Whenever a stock moves more than 5%, oh, that was a mistake. Hold on, I'm just trying to. Why is that happening? I want it big, and then, oh, I know what I did. Okay, sorry, it's just me being not techie. I mean, I am. I'm trying to move my screen so I can't read the comments while I'm talking. So now, if a single stock moves up or down more than, let's say, 5% in a 5-minute time frame, they then halt the security for 5 minutes. That one stock, not the whole market. The whole market is a circuit breakers we talked about. This is if the stock moves up or down 5% or more, give or take, depending on how high price the stock is, then it halts for 5 minutes to kind of give everyone a chance to relook at it, and then it starts again. That can happen multiple times. So that's limit up, limit down. That definitely happened today on a few stocks because the market can't go up 1,000 points and not have stocks go up 5%. Wow. Nope, I'm not really getting it. Okay, so luckily I do a lot of online tutoring. So if I am sick, nobody's getting it. Now, Dominique, I'm going to talk to you later, but what I do need you to do is go to my How to Pass the Series 6 exam. There is a ton of stuff on annuities on that. Before we talk about it, check that out, because I don't, you don't want to waste time on. I spend an hour, and my How to Pass the Series 6 exam does a whole hour on mutual funds and annuities. But I can see if I have time to do that. Okay. Okay, Nate, you missed it. Just took it, you passed. Okay, felt confident going into it, but as I was taking it, not much haha. Right. So, right. That's the thing about this exam, is that you absolutely feel like you are failing the whole time. You have to get used to it. All of them are written that way, that you feel like you're failing most of the time. Okay. Who missed it? Somebody just missed it. Oh, Orlando. Okay, so 3 points. Okay. Now, yeah, see, the problem is, if you're focusing on just the tests, then you might have a tough time because they don't look like the exam. So really what you should do, and if you missed it last week, what you need to do is just start reading the book. Don't even worry about don't do questions anymore. Spend the next, the next week or so just reading the book. If I'm not here next week, you know what happened. Okay. So now, I hope I don't have it. So now, although I'm middle-aged, so it shouldn't be a big deal. Okay, so it seems like more questions dive into. Okay, so I will talk a little bit about annuities. I just want to get through this stuff. Okay. Right, that's the thing, Jonathan, that a lot of the books don't have this down pat between SIE and top off. So a lot of times you'll read the top off and go, oh my God, there were SIE questions on there. Okay, so again, let's say, Beltrans, I am so happy. That's awesome. Okay. So now you're taking the insurance license. That I can't help you, but I can tell you the good thing about the insurance ones, that you can take that over and over again. Even if you fail today, you can take it tomorrow. That's one of the ones. I don't know if SDC does the books on that. I think ExamFX does, or which I hate, but they're good for the insurance stuff. Each state has their own insurance rules. Like Jersey's is different than Pennsylvania. But the good thing about those is they usually make you, I think Kaplan makes you take a class, and then you can take, if you fail, you can take it every day until you pass. I had a few people that talked to me. I was talking them through the process a little bit. I don't really teach that. Okay. Missing, okay. Right, Jonathan. So, yeah, I mean, missing the test by 1 point is tough. It's like the worst score ever. But use it as a learning tool and read the book straight through. You have to basically read the book straight through, then start taking tests. And if you take too many tests, you start memorizing answers, and then you get screwed up. That's why I say in my downstairs, in my comment thing, I have Achievable. I think there's some access there. Hopefully, I'm working on a link with STC where you can click on the link and get, not bad, a 15% discount. That's not nothing. On a $300 program, that's almost like $40, $40, $50 you're going to save. So it's not horrible. Hopefully, I'll have that link in there by next week for the books. And the classes, and anything you buy, you get a 15% discount through there. Okay, now, I talked about limit up, limit down. And I also talked about the circuit breaker. So I'm going to talk about, okay. Oh, that's awesome. Kyle, that's amazing. Okay. Here's the thing. So I started saying I was going to do the 66, but I realized I'm hurting myself a little bit. So I'm going to focus on the SIE, and mostly on the SIE. Will help on these things on the top off and the 66. But I do a lot of students tutoring 66. If you really want help on that, I might do 1 or 2 more videos on it, just on the maybe the IA and securities, but kind of not going heavy on that until I'm done with the SIE. I kind of want to niche down and just do SIE, top off, and then I can work on the 66 and stuff and see how this channel is going. Because it's going. By the way, I hope you all saw my community thing. I'm going to talk about annuities in a second. I hope you saw my thing, that what I'm going to do is I'm at like 1,130. When I get to 1,200, the next live after that, I'm going to randomly pick someone. Maybe I'll ask a quick question and see who answers it first correctly. And I'm going to give them an hour of free tutoring, like on Skype, whatever, and maybe I'll record it or something. But that's my thing, is I'm going to kind of give back a little bit. If If I get to 1,200, then 13, then 14, I average about 130 viewers a month. So based about once a month, I'm going to do a free tutoring session on Skype for someone. Okay, so since I'm not seeing a lot of questions, and somebody asked me a question, but I don't remember what it was. So online or earlier, and I didn't see it. So okay. Now, yeah, that's awesome, Belton. That's such a great thing. Remember something. This is what I tell people who fail. It's a 30-day problem in a 20-year career. It's 30 days of your life. As long as you get a second chance, it's 30 days of your life. You just got to do it right and read. Okay. Now, annuities. So annuities are non-qualified plans. Okay. Non-qualified, which means they are not sponsored by a corporation. So if you work, your work is not giving you an annuity, not like a 401k or a pension plan or anything like this. These are non-qualified. So non-qualified annuities, it's a tax-deferred program. So the money goes in after tax, it grows tax-deferred, and then when you take it out, you pay taxes on the growth portion. Now the thing about an annuity is that it's sponsored by usually an insurance company. You buy it through them personally. The money goes in after tax. Remember, you put the money in and you've been taxed on that money. So you can't pay tax on it again. When you take it out, you pay tax on the growth. So if you put 20 grand in now, it grows tax deferred, and then say it's 100 grand when you're 60, you take it out and you only pay tax on the 80 because you already paid tax on the 20. Now the thing about an annuity, which you have to know for the SIE, and I have a whole video for the 6 with the annuities, a whole 30 minutes on this, is that you can choose to get paid out. So you can do an annuity. You can withdraw it all in one shot. That's not a problem. But you can do an annuity where you pay until you die. So say you're 60 years old and they go, okay, well, you're going to live for another 10 years. They have to pay you where say you have 100 grand. Let me back up. If you have 100 grand in your annuity and you have 10 years until they expect you to die. They're going to take 100 grand, divide it by 10 years. That's what they have to pay you. So it's going to be 10 grand a year for 10 years. Now, the problem is if you do straight life, if you die after 1 year, the insurance company keeps the money. Your family doesn't get anything. But that sounds shitty. But if you live beyond the 10 years, then they keep paying you. So if you have 100 grand, 10 years till they think you're going to live for 10 years, they pay you 10 grand a year. If you make it 11, 12, 13 years, they have to keep paying you on that. So that's where you can end up actually doing better. Okay. Brunilda, can you just preview funding? Okay. Okay. The current yield stuff I can do very easily. So if you buy a bond at a discount, the easy part is the yields are coupons the lowest, current, yield to maturity, yield to call. Because think about it. If you buy a bond at a discount, how much are you getting at maturity? You're getting $1,000 at maturity, okay? You get, hey, Colleen, oh, I think you asked a question. If you can remember what it is, put it on here. So now, if you buy a bond at a discount, you're paying $800 for it. At maturity, you're going to get $1,000. So that's an extra $200 that you're getting. So your yield to maturity is going to be higher than your current. So remember this, discount. If you can remember this before I die from this shit, get it. Discount bond, coupon, current, yield to maturity, yield to call. So yield to call is going to be the highest. Yield to maturity is the next one down, then current, then coupon. And if they ask who quotes it, it's always the lowest. So on a discount, it's yield to maturity. Now, if it's a premium, how do you know if it's a premium or discount? Well, if you see the prices quoted below 100 or below 1,000, it's a discount. If it's quoted above 1,000 or above 100 as a quote, it's a premium. So then it goes coupon, it's the highest, then current, then yield to maturity, then yield to call. So the lowest is yield to call. So on a premium, you quote yield to call. The reason it's lower is because you're paying $1,200, and at maturity you only get $1,000, so you're actually losing money. They're going to take money. You're only getting back 1,000 when you pay 1,200 for it. That's the problem with a premium. It's fine to buy it. All the yields work out to be the same. But remember, discount, coupon, current, yield to maturity, yield to call. Premium, coupon, current, yield to maturity, yield to call. Get that in your head. So if you see a quote, if they show a bond that's an 8% bond and it's quoted at 9%, so the quote is, the coupon is here, not 8, and they say the yield is higher, so it has to be a discount. If the yield is higher than the coupon, it's a discount. Ah, there it is. So thank you. If you have a bond that's above par, so if you see a coupon of 9 and a yield of 8, that means the coupon's here and the yield is below, it has to be a premium every time. I hope that helps. Now, pre-refunding. I did do this last week, so I'll do it one more time a little quickly, maybe 2 weeks ago. I'm a municipal issuer. I issue you guys a $10,000 bond for 5%. That means I am paying you. Oh, wait, hold on. Dominique, who makes the call on how you're going to live? That's called an actuary. An actuary is an independent actuary that predicts when people are going to die. Hopefully that'll help. It has to be independent. It can't be the insurance company. Back to this. I issue a $10,000 bond to you guys at 5%. That means I owe you $500. I owe you $500 every year, which is $250 every 6 months. Okay. Now, if now let's say rates like now with what's going on, all rates are really dropping because people are buying bonds. So as people are panicking and leaving stocks, moronically, and buying treasuries and bonds, the prices are going up and the yields are dropping. So in this situation, I'm an issuer. I want to actually pay less money. I want to pay less money to you guys. So I go to refinance or call it, but I can't. So the problem is I can't call it back because it's non-callable. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go, wait a second, I'm a muni, I can do this. I am going to actually issue a bond for 1% to other people. So again, you own a bond, 10 grand, getting 5% a year, that's $500. I go somewhere else and issue a new bond for 10 grand that pays 1% because that's the current rates. I now have 10,000 in cash because I issued a bond to other people. I take that 10 grand and put the money in an escrow account, which is a legal account, and I buy 5% treasuries. So I buy $10,000 worth of 5% treasuries. So wait a second, I owe you $500 because you have $10,000 of 5% bonds. I just bought treasuries that pay me 5% on 10 grand, which is $500. So I just attach the treasury to your bond, and that's escrow to maturity, defeasing the debt, pre-refunding. Pre-refunding is when I can't really call it. So I put the money, I issue new bonds to get money, buy treasuries that pay you off. I hope that helps a little bit. So pre-refunding is very safe because your bond is not backed by treasuries, not me. So we're all good. Okay. Colleen, I'm going to hit you in 1 second. Prime paper. Prime paper is basically like, think of it as like basically commercial paper that is very highly rated. So it's basically like AAA, AA, commercial paper that's very high rated, AA, AAA rated commercial paper. What's commercial paper, you ask? It is short-term bonds. It's a short-term debt. I'm a corporation. I need money for the next 9 months. So what I do is I issue a commercial paper at like $9.80, and then I give whoever buys this, I give them back $1,000. Okay, and I have to give them back $1,000 at the end of 9 months, and that $20 is your interest. That's commercial paper. Prime paper is the very highly rated one. So I'll do this, then I'll get to Jonathan. So now, alpha. Okay, so alpha and beta. So Colleen said she saw some questions on the test that were alpha and beta. So here's where it's going to come in. The question she showed me is I think is way too difficult. So the way I think they're going to ask it is this. If you have a beta of 1.5, what the hell does that mean? A beta of 1.5 means that your portfolio will move 1.5 times, 1.5 times what the market does. If you have a beta of 0.8, it's going to move 80% of it. If you have a beta of 2, it's going to move twice as much. So it's a multiplier. So if the market goes up 10%, and you have a beta of 1.5, you should be going up 15%. Fair enough? So if you have a beta of 1.5, you just multiply times this. So 10 times 1.5 is 15%. So that is what your expected return is. So you're expected to do 15. What happens if you do 17 or you do 13? If you do more than that, then that extra is called alpha. So if your portfolio is as a beta of 1.5 and the market goes up 15%, I should have done that, but 15, I'm going to do 15 times 1.5, that gives me 22.5%. That means I'm expected to do 22.5%. If I do 23.5, let's say I do 23.5%, then I have 1 point of alpha. Okay? I have 1 point of alpha. So the whole point here is that alpha is what you do better than the return. And the question she showed me, I think, was too complicated, but they could give you a little bit of a tricky question, but just remember, figure out what the beta expected return is. You just multiply the beta times the return. So say you have a 12% return and the beta is 0.9. You do 12 times 0.9, whatever number that is, say that's 10.8, I guess. Whatever that is, that's your expected return. If you do better than that, everything better or worse is your alpha. That should help you, I hope. Okay. Okay. Prime paper, I handled. Okay. Muni notes. Okay. So the question is, when you guys ask how in depth do you need to know, I need you to tell me what test you're talking about. Is it SIE? Wow, Pooja, that's a tough one. Hold on, let me come back to that. Okay. 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 So. Okay, perfect. Yeah, maybe one question on current yield. How do we get current yield? We do current yield is coupon, or with the annual, it's the annual return over the market price. Okay, so it's the annual return over the market price. So if it's a bond, it's the coupon over the market price. If it's a stock or a preferred, it's the dividend, the quarterly dividend times 4 divided by the market price. Remember that dividend yield and current yield mean the same thing with stocks. Okay. Thank you. That's what I want you to tell me. So now, so if it's a current yield on a bond, it's coupon over the current market price. If it's stock, find out if it's a quarterly dividend or the whole thing. If it's quarterly, multiply by 4 and then divide it by the market price. Okay, now, yeah, Nicole, on the I'm going to get to Jonathan's in a second. So if you, Nicole, if you are doing options, you're right. Get break even, max gain, max loss, bullish or bearish. And you have to know what they do. Like you have to know if I buy a call, I have the right to buy. If I buy a put, I have the right to sell. If I sell a call, I must sell the stock to the buyer of the call. And if I sell a put, I have to buy the stock from the buyer of the put. Those are things you have to know. I don't think it's too deep. The top off will be, the 7 top off will be a lot more. The 6 top off, probably no options. Basically, it'll be a passive thing. Okay. Okay. Muni notes. Okay. You need to know Muni notes. If it's for the top off, I would know them, but you don't need to know the nitty gritty. Like know that what a TAN does or RAN. You know that TANs and RANs, tax anticipation and revenue, are for like short-term needs. Like if my city needs money to pick up snow, which never happened, and we know that there are taxes coming due in April, we will issue a TAN right now, a tax anticipation note in like January or February, and when people pay their taxes in April, it pays off the TAN. So it's usually a discount security, like maybe you buy it at like $9.90 and it matures at $1,000. When people pay their taxes, it comes and pays it off. Okay. 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 Good. Awesome. You figured it out. Okay. So now, right. That's the thing. There's only a couple questions and options. It's not crazy. If you have a little chart that you do, and I put it, yeah, I'm not trying to say, but I put an eBay link in there and there's a thing you can buy. Okay. Now, Pooja. Okay. So you're taking it Thursday. I don't know how you're, Pooja Sean, right? I don't know how well you're doing. Okay. I don't know how, what you're doing now and whether you're studying, but if you have SDC, make sure you get 14 through 20 down. That's the risk. You have to know regs and risks. And yes, they're going to be economic stuff like cyclical stocks and stuff like that, what the Fed can do or not do. Also, that feeds into the top off. Okay, so Pooja, what you need to study, you need to know regs and you need to know the risks. I have a risk video back. It's all about the risk, I think. You have to know those risks cold. You have to know interest rate risk, reinvestment risk, all that stuff. God, okay. Yeah, okay, that's true. So, Nicole, I agree. Past perfect absolutely destroys your mind. I like their stuff because they cover a lot, but they go way too deep. Anything to do with math on past perfect, take it with a grain of salt. It's not that deep. They are way past perfect. Yes, they're solid. They give you a lot of info. They are way too fucking deep for this test. I can't make that clear enough. That do not worry about the heavy math. If you're taking the top off later, maybe we deal with that. But there, okay. Okay, alpha and beta probably not on the SIE. That was a question for the top off. That's what somebody was asking. Okay. No. Okay. So let's talk about economic factors a little bit since we brought that up. So now, yeah, it's unbelievable how I do like pass off. It's just they're so freaking deep. And it's not that test. I mean, you take it, you'd be like, what the hell was I studying? So now, where was it? You were, cycles. So let's talk about the 4 business cycles. So during a good economy, you have expansion. So during expansion, we're worried about the economy expanding, which is a good thing in a way, but we're worried about hyperinflation. We're about inflation going too much, prices rising too much. So now, if that happens, the Fed, through monetary policy, is going to tighten down. So what they're going to do is they're going to raise rates to make it harder to borrow, more expensive to borrow. And then they're going to sell treasuries. They're not going to issue. They buy and sell treasuries. If they sell treasuries to the banks have to buy them and give them their money. So what happens is when the banks give them the money, they have less money to lend, so it slows down the economy. So that's expansion. So during expansion, we sell and raise. The Fed sells and raises. This is monetary policy. Then we have peak. That's the top, okay? That's where we're still going up, but we're slowing down, kind of like the top of the mountain. We're not really doing much there. We're just kind of like near the end of peak. What they do is they don't want us to fall off a cliff. So near the end of peak, when they feel it, they're going to start lowering rates a little bit, okay? So they're going to start easing at the end of peak. So they want it to go down, but not really fast. They'd love it to be a smooth down and back up again. So during peak, at the end of peak, and then into contraction, okay, not recession, contraction. Recession is a long contraction. Contraction is a cycle, recession is not. So during contraction, the economy is getting weaker, less jobs, not a good thing, so going on. So the Fed is going to go, oh, we have to make it easier, better for businesses and people to invest. So we start lowering the discount rate. That's the rate we do. We lower the discount rate, make it easier to borrow. Okay. And then we lower the discount rate, and then we start buying treasuries. So the Federal Reserve starts buying treasuries from the banks. And if I'm buying something from you, I'm giving you money. And if I give you money as a bank, you're going to have to spend it or lend it out. So what happens is you start investing and lending money out, and then business start growing. So hopefully during expansion, we tighten to slow it down. During peak, and then in contraction, we're going down, and we want to give it a little gas. So we try to give it some gas by lowering the rates and buying treasuries. So then the bottom is the trough, and we hope it goes right back up. I hope that helps with the business cycles and the economic stuff a little bit. I think I have a video on that too. Now, I think I have a video on a lot of stuff. So now, can I review debt service ratio? Okay, so debt service ratio is only for revenues. It's saying, do we have enough money coming in versus how much debt we have to pay out? So if it's a revenue, there's money coming in every month or every day. We're going to take all that money by a yearly basis, divide it by the amount of interest we have to pay every year, and that's the debt service ratio. We want a higher one so that we know that there's enough money. I think of it this way. You're going to buy a new car or something like that. You're going to take your income and divide it by the new payment. Say you have bills you have to pay, and you go, do I have enough money to buy a car? So you take all your money coming in and divide it by the bills plus what the car would cost. And if you still have money left over, you can make a decision. So the debt coverage ratio is for revenues only, and it's looking at the money coming in divided by, okay. I'll do a quick one on that, but I do, remember, mutual funds and annuities, I have an hour-long video on that. It's called How to Pass a Series 6. Okay. Now, and it covers most of the stuff you have to do, but we'll get into this. So now, I hope that does. UITs, they are horrible little tiny things that are not securities. They're issued by insurance. You buy into them. Here's the thing about a UIT. You buy it for income. It is not a security. Any variable, if it's a variable, go find my How to Pass a Series 6 video after we're done, and that'll probably explain most of it. Now, a UIT, here's the thing with a UIT. It has a fixed portfolio that never freaking changes, okay? I think I just yelled at somebody and they all left. Now, so a UIT has a fixed portfolio that does not change, okay? So since it doesn't change, if a bond or something matures or a stock disappears, they don't replace it. So eventually the UIT gets smaller and smaller and smaller. But here's what you need to know. One, it's not a security. Two, they don't replace the assets inside the fund when they go out of, when they disappear. Three, you buy it at NAV plus a sales charge, and if you want to get rid of it, you redeem it back to the issuer. Those are the things you know through a UIT, not a security. Now, mutual fund distribution. Okay, so here's the thing. Everything about a freaking mutual fund is taxable. Everything they do. If they send you money, you're paying taxes on it. So here's what happens. If they do their short-term gains and their interest, a mutual fund, if they earn interest, dividends, or have short-term gains, those are all taxed the same way, meaning that they're taxed at your ordinary income rate. So they kick that out as a dividend. So mutual funds kick out dividends, interest, and short-term gains quarterly as a dividend because they're all taxed the same way. I should not be touching my face. So the next part is yearly. So remember, they may have long-term gains, which is any gain they earn over a year. Once a year, they kick out long-term gains. Once a year, they kick out long-term gains. That's a capital gains distribution. That's taxed at the lower rate than the capital gains rate, which is 15 or 20%. Even if you own the mutual fund for 3 weeks and you get the capital gain distribution, it is taxable at the lower rate, the capital gains rate. So here's the thing. I get my mutual fund dividend. I go, screw it. I hit the button, and I want the stuff automatically reinvested into the dividend, back into the mutual fund. Yes, I will not pay sales charges, but yes, I will pay taxes. Everything about a mutual fund is taxable. Everything about a mutual fund is taxable. So if they pay you, you are getting taxed on it. Even if you reinvest. So like if you take your money and reinvest dividends and reinvest in another fund inside the same family of funds, you don't pay sales charges, but you will pay taxes. If you take your money and reinvest it in a fund outside the fund family, and a fund family is like Fidelity is a fund family, T. Rowe is a fund family, Vanguard is a fund family. If you stay in that family, they will not charge you a sales charge. But if you go outside the family, stay in the family, don't go outside, they will charge you a sales charge and it's taxable. If you switch from one mutual fund to another inside the family, it's possibly a capital gain because you have to sell the shares that you bought. If you sell them for more than you paid for them, then you pay taxes on it. If you sell them for less, it's a loss. Okay. Okay, yeah, that's true. That could be true. It doesn't matter how you remember. It just as long as you remember. Okay. I think, did I get all the questions? I can't believe I did them all. I got them all. This was good. It was a lot more, it was a lot busier. Okay. Okay. So, okay. Right. Okay. So the regs, yeah, I mean, if you have SDC, it's easy. It's the 14 through 20. I don't know what Kaplan or Notman do. Again, it sounds like I'm pushing it, but it's so easy. If you do the achievable thing, yes, I'm talking about it again. If you do the achievable thing, I think it's $70. And they have a section on regs, I'm pretty sure. It's not so bad. But again, I tell everyone I'm not really pushing it. Yes, I make money if you use it, but don't worry about it. So regs, yes, they're confusing. You have to know FINRA rules. You have to know the Bank Secrecy Act stuff. This is all for the SIE. Top off, not as much. I mean, it's there, but it's not as much. So you have to know the rules, the regs, what a customer account stuff, and make sure you get those risks down. Like I said, find my old video. Also, I think I have 2 videos on Active 33 and Active 34. That should help you a little bit. I think I did both of them not too long ago, so you should be able to search for them. Okay. I think that's it on a crazy, crazy day of trading. Okay. UATs. So variable UATs are a security, but they're not. I mean, that's an annuity. A variable UAT is an annuity. So it's really, if they say UAT, assume it's a fixed UAT. Okie doke. It is 9:07 for me. It's fun talking to y'all. I can't believe Judith didn't come on. I guess she doesn't like. No, I'm kidding. She's probably here somewhere. But I will talk to you all next week. I'm hoping to have a few more videos. Although everyone, hopefully everyone here is subscribed to me. If you aren't, hit that button, hit the bell. The other thing is, I did a community post. I did a poll. I'm trying to see what kind of books people bought. Interesting. So everyone, if you subscribe to me, you should see a community post. And I'd like to see what everyone, what kind of books. And it looks like Kaplan's leading the way right now with 50%, which surprised me, but that's fine. I mean, I guess they have a far reach. And I'm going to try to keep posting stuff. I'm actually trying to read, as I said, I'm trying to get through the whole SIE book. I'm up to chapter 3, part 2 already. I hope yeah, it's going to be the STC book. It's fine. So if you got the STC book, then you can just read it with me. Okay. Yeah, fine. Anthony, happy to do it. Okay. Eddie, do the How to Pass the Series 6 video. Watch them, and then watch the rest. It can't hurt. Okay. Y'all have a good night. If you like what I did, please hit the like button. And I will see you all next week. Anthony, give me a reach out if you want. I will talk to you later. Have a good night.